Greetings, I am CrossKnights, and this is the 7th anniversary question and answer extravaganza. So yeah, 7 years. That's like, it's like a fourth of my life, math? It's less than a fourth. It's about a fifth of my life I've been doing this. So yeah, it's, this has been a good year, and I was listening to my past, question and answer video, and I think I was seriously thinking about cutting back the channel like massively, just because I couldn't like justify the amount of time that I was spending on it. But after I started the Patreon, like, that gave me a gigantic shot in the arm, and I actually am able to justify doing it again, just based on the the support that I'm getting. And I'm gonna cut right into this. There's a ton of links in the descriptions to like a bunch of different things, but including past question and answers if you want to see. That was happening to me, 7 years ago when I did my first one of these. But okay, and, just in case somehow you're not actually from my channel, I just know that I'm bad at reading proper names, so that's a thing. But Flame Gamer Hotspot 2000, I think I actually talked to him a little bit. He came to my, my Sonic Generation stream, I think, which I don't know if I ever uploaded to the archives or not, so I don't know if you can watch it, but whatever. Do you still have insomnia issues? Boy, howdy do I ever. I'm actually currently in one of the worst bouts of insomnia that I've had probably since high school. Now, I know I've been saying that, but, like, I can't actually always remember when I have really bouts of, bad bouts of insomnia. And back in, like, 2014, or it was earlier than that, 2012, I was having insomnia where I could only sleep between 3 and 4 hours at a time, no matter what. And that wasn't enough, and I never got, like, fully asleep during those times. And those were definitely the worst. But I just mean the worst in that, like, hours awake during the day versus hours awake during night are completely skewed. And now, since I live with a girlfriend, I can't even make use of that time to record, because I am very likely to wake her up, and she generally has college. Sometimes I can get my work done, but a lot of times, like, my brain isn't really functioning that well when my sleep is messed up and it's nighttime, so I can't do that. But yeah, I definitely still have insomnia issues. Basket Knight, the most powerful type of knight. Have you seen One Piece? I have not. This actually started a conversation between him and Terror Owns, but I have not seen One Piece. I actually saw a video by, I want to say it's like Sniper Wolf X, or it's Super Eye Patch Wolf. Okay, Super Eye Patch Wolf on YouTube has anime videos that I really love. There's a few other people that I watch that I've just periodically watched, like Digibro and Mother's Basement, but they're like more abrasive, and they're kind of like a have at you style, and like, I'm awesome. This guy, Super Eye Patch Wolf, I like because he just talks about what he loves, and you can just feel like the love in his voice when he's talking about different shows. And I watched a show about One Piece, and it almost made me want to watch it. But, I mean, one, it's like 1,000 episodes long, and two, I hear that it gets, like, not as good later on, and it starts to be filled with filler, and I'm not down with that. If a show's not going to remain tight, I'm not going to deal with it. So I'm probably not going to watch One Piece. And I'm probably not going to read the manga just because it's been impossible for me to stay interested in, like, reading even comics for very long. But, I believe it's a good show after watching Super Eye Patch Wolf's video on it. Hopefully I'll remember to put a description to that in the thing, because I think, his channel's great. If you like anime, I think you should watch it. Alright, Somolian Proxy. What is your setup? Be specific by setup. I mean, recording equipment, computer specs, please. I've wondered this forever. I mean, if you've wondered forever, I've changed computers 2 times, or is it 3 times? I think 3 times since I started. But so for most of my recording, the actual like software is I still use Fraps. I shouldn't. There are better programs. And Camtasia if I'm doing like Plants vs Zombie, and I think like Plants vs Zombies and some of my Flash games are the only things I record with Camtasia. And it's an older version of Camtasia, but it works fine. I have no idea what the new one adds. It's Camtasia Studio 8. And for editing, I use an extremely old version of Movie Maker. I actually could use the newer Movie Maker. I'm just familiar with the old one. I mean, what are my current computer specs even? Let me see. I'm just gonna screenshot this. I don't know. Maybe that'll help. That doesn't tell you about my video card, though. I'll figure out a way to display all that. I mean, I have a better video card. My power supply doesn't work with that video card, so I need to buy a power supply for the video card. Once I do that, hopefully a lot of random crap like, Stardew Valley not running properly sometimes will stop. But until then, meh. I also kind of want another hard drive. But hopefully that's specific enough. But yeah, I mean, recording equipment, there's no equipment, really. I used to have a capture card, but other than that, it's all just on my computer. So hopefully that tells you. All right, Jesse 2222. If you could have any object in the entire known universe, what would it be? So it has to be the entire known universe. That means I can't pick a time machine, right? I mean, do I get to just have Bill Gates' credit card? No, but then it wouldn't work for me. Damn it. Stupid security precautions. I mean, having a full gym would be awesome. So one of those, what about a total gym? Aren't those things $3,000 or something ridiculous? They're those things where you can do tons of different workouts. And no, I'd probably put it in my basement and never use the stupid thing. I don't want to be lame and just say a bag of money or a top-of-the-line computer, but I would get the most use out of a top-of-the-line computer, wouldn't I? Oh, man. Yeah, wait a minute. How about a mansion? Can I get a mansion? Crap, what would I do with a mansion? I couldn't use all that space. Well, if I had... If I somehow... No, I still have to pay property tax, though. If I could somehow get a mansion where I didn't need to pay the property tax, or where I could rent out the rooms, maybe, I might do that. Yeah, I can't decide. I mean, if gun to my head, I'm going to take a top-of-the-line computer. But if you want to be fun about it, some type of really cool house where maybe I could have my friends all move in. Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. And then, because I guess I can make enough money from renting it out theoretically, that it would pay for any property taxes, and then I don't know, that'd be nice, right? And also, I might be able to market it as the magical appearing crazy universe house that came from nowhere. It'd be a scientific anomaly. Yeah. So computer and unrealistically, magical space mansion. All right, Antonio Sid Neurosis. I missed last year's FAQ, but I shall ask the question I constantly ask under different aliases. What? What does that mean? How's life going for you, Cross? It's been over 6 years since I started watching you, and I continue to enjoy your content, even in college. I hope to continue watching your content and asking the same repetitive questions throughout my personal journey as a psychiatrist. Who are you, sir? I guess I could go back to past Q&A question pages and figure out who you are, if that's the question that you keep on asking. But life is going okay. I felt a little bit stagnant in my life. It's just weird. My job of rating internet pages is feeling really stagnant and unfulfilling, and I've been doing a little bit worse at it. And I think I mentioned this before. They grade you every month, and I failed for the first time back in the beginning of the year, and I've done okay since then. But what I'm saying is I could lose the job. Now I keep on telling everyone I know that I could lose this job at any time, and I think they're just sick of me saying it since I've had the job for 3.5 years. But it's I really feel like it could happen now. It's under kind of new management. They do things a bit differently. But we'll see. So I don't know. Part of me wants to just start looking for new jobs, even if it was just working at a supermarket or something. It would just be. I feel like it might be less stressful at this point, And plus, there's something to be said about working a job and then being done with the job when you come home. That's never the case when you work at home. You always feel like there's more you could be doing. And it's a little bit unnerving to never feel like you're truly at rest. But, that's the main problem. Insomnia hasn't been that great. But, I still like doing the channel. That's it's probably the best part is that I get to do the channel still. But, yeah, I don't know. And I'm not entirely thrilled about the place we're living right now just because there's not that much I can do by myself without a car. Yeah, but 203 is essentially keeping me sane, even though she's really busy with college. All in all, I can't really complain. It's been a decent year. So, thanks for asking. I just got to figure out those little problems with my life, figure out the next great thing I want to aspire to. All right, Mag Knight. What is the time and day of the stream? Because I want to be absolutely sure. All right, well, they are referring to the live stream. Don't answer that. I just saw it in the link description. Well, too bad. I answered it. Now that's in the video. So yeah, 24-hour stream already happened. You can see it. I don't know if it's been uploaded to Drive Not Found yet. I should find that out. It was in 2 12-hour chunks, but it went very well. I was there for way longer than I thought I would because of Insomnia. And yeah, I think it went better than last year. And we earned, what did we get? I think we got like $340, or was it $320? Our goal was $300, so we got it. So all that went to charity, to Child's Play, which is awesome. So hopefully you were able to stop by there. I don't know if you were able to stop by, but hopefully you got to see it. All right. Make It Stop asks, do you have any interesting stories you would like to tell? Oh, boy. Not too much. I guess Halloween was pretty cool. Halloween, like, as a kid, it's about going around and getting candy, essentially, and dressing up. And then when I was a teenager, there was, like, a point where, like, I kind of still wanted to do that, but, like, people ridicule you if you do it. I still kind of did it, even, like, up until high school, because I had enough nerd friends that, like, if you're going to do something, like, weird that people, like, shun you for, if you have a group, you can still usually get away with it. Once I got older, though, and I wasn't interested in candy, like, Halloween kind of didn't do anything for me for a long time. Until I started drinking. And then Halloween kind of made sense again, because I guess that's what adults do. They get drunk. But now Halloween is specifically getting drunk and going outside of my friend's store while his metal band plays. And this year it was great, because I had my trusty kazoo. My other metal friend came with his kazoo. Then all of a sudden my friend that lived in the apartment next to him just came downstairs with a mouth harp, which he had just gotten. And his girlfriend came down with I don't know what it's called, but it's like that little piano keyboard thing that you have, and you blow into it, and then it makes a noise, like a flute keyboard. But the thing is, we all knew this metal band really well, so we basically made a band that played while they were playing, and it was great. I don't know if the people around us thought it was great, but I thought it was great, because we knew all the melodies, so we're actually able to play our kazoos and mouth harps and piano blow thingies very effectively. It was great. That was a good Halloween. It wasn't the best Halloween. Also, best part of last Halloween, during the metal show, almost like every other metal show has been broken up by the cops just because it's not sanctioned. And once it gets past like 9 o'clock, there's just a loud metal show like on the main street, and they're like, you can't do this. It's not okay. It's a weekday. But so the metal show started, and all of a sudden the cops show up, like a bunch of cops, and they're like, "Where's the fight?" And we're like, "There's no fight." And then there's like this vegan store that's right next to where the metal shop was. That's where the fight was happening. Like someone didn't get their double mocha non-milk latte or whatever, and I guess a fight broke out. And then the police just came up, broke out the fight, and waved us goodbye, and the metal show went on. Excellent. First time that ever freaking happened. Jack Swift. Do you watch mainstream anime or play mainstream games? I've had some mainstream games on this channel. Definitely Batman and Shadow of Mordor are certainly mainstream games. I don't play them very often now, though. It's way more indie games than mainstream games, but I'll play the mainstream ones when they're cheap enough and they come on Steam. As far as anime, yeah, I've started watching anime again very slowly, but not that much of it. I've still been trying to watch Durarara. I think I might have actually mentioned Durarara on my last Q&A. But, every few months I catch another episode on Netflix, and eventually I'll get through it. I like it, it's just I get distracted easily. I've recently watched almost all of Yu Yu Hakusho in one shot, again because of Super Eye Patch Wolf did a thing about how Yu Yu Hakusho was amazing, and I was like, I need to finally watch this show. And it's good. It's not great. It's from, the early 90s, I think. But I just like the characters. And Genkai is an amazing, she's kind of like the old mentor role, but I just like her better than someone like Master Roshi or I'm sorry I'm drawing a blank, Yoda. I don't know, but it's good. I suggest watching it. I watched the first season of Attack on Titan. I don't think I have any interest in watching the later ones, to be honest. I know it's being... I think someone else is like doing them, and I just... Too much time passed, and I stopped caring. So, meh. And what else? I used to watch Naruto. I used to watch Bleach until Bleach like angered me, and I had to stop watching it. And I guess Naruto I just caught up. And, I mean, I skipped all of the filler, which was going on for a year, but I caught up around the time he was fighting Pain and just didn't go back to it. So, I sort of know how it ends, but I kind of want to go back and, like, see what I missed, but I'll have to skip all the filler that I'm sure is in there also. Yeah, hopefully that answers. So, yes. Yes, I do watch mainstream anime and games. All right, so Wargunning, who I believe is also Van Helsing, he asked, what is your recording equipment? I've basically answered that, I think, in the previous question. So, here's my specs. Check out my specs. Hopefully, I mean, I just hope that that's what you wanted, like my actual computer specs, because I don't know what else is. I was supposed to have Windows 8, and instead I have Windows 7. They actually screwed up when they sent me this computer, but some people tell me I'm actually lucky that happened. All right, Private Butkus. Excluding vinegar, because obviously, what's your favorite condiment? This is a joke that, like, I think me and Butkus think is way more amusing than anyone else, where he found this My Little Pony thing, where all the ponies were different condiments, and the different condiments had personalities attached to them. So we were trying to figure out who everyone in our group was. So, like, I'm vinegar, Private Butkus is tartar sauce, Companion Cube, or Unkempt Cube, is mayonnaise, my girlfriend 203 is barbecue sauce, Relic is relish, Taz is ketchup. So, that being said, this isn't related to Taz, but I think it might be ketchup. I love ketchup. I put exorbitantly large amounts of ketchup on everything. I got a breakfast sandwich this morning, and it didn't have ketchup on it, and it made me sad. And it was a really good breakfast sandwich, but it would have been better with ketchup. The Big Johnny D asked, did you ever believe that your channel would be where it is now and play a big role in your life? No. Not initially, definitely. I had a different start than a lot of the other people in our group there, where I got like some pretty big boost within my first few months. So, yeah, and in a way, my channel has actually been in decline for a really long time. I used to get, like, I mean, honestly, like 5-6 times the views, but most of them were just on very specific series, like Plants vs. Zombies. I think my newer series is, like, when they come out, they have the same amount of views or a little bit more, depending on what I'm recording. But no, yeah, I didn't. It's a gigantic part of my life. It's hard to imagine like life without the channel at this point, at least in some capacity. Shadow Madness 123 asks a very similar question. CrossKnights, how far did you think you'd do in YouTube? Yeah, no, this is about it. This is about how I figured. If I had more time, I might have been able to like promote more and like grow a little bit more and not be stagnant. But Carson Fire Dragon. What Flash game has had the most effect on you, excluding something like Rebuild or any sort of game that you could get its own playlist out of? A game that's 3 episodes, if not less. It can be any game you haven't shown on your channel as well. Yeah, well, I know the answer to this. There's a game called, I think, One Chance. The premise is that you are a scientist that has created a cure for cancer, but you actually find out that the cure kind of breaks loose, and you are aware that in 6 days it will cause the death of all humanity. And you have one chance to live your life and figure out what you do. Will you try to find a cure? Will you just ignore it and just try to enjoy your last few days? It's called One Chance because you're supposed to only be able to play it one time ever. There's no reset option. Like, once you die, if you ever go back to the game, it'll just be at that death screen. That being said, if you play it on a different website, if you clear your cookies, if you do a variety of other things, you can play it more than one time. However, I only played it once, and I was not happy with my ending, and it severely depressed me for a long time. While We're talking like the rest of the day and maybe a little bit of the next day. But it just had a profound emotional effect on me. This like stupid little Flash game that I think the guy made in like 2 days just really affected me. So I hesitate to put it in the description because it just made me so sad, but I'll try to find it. It's probably still on Newgrounds. It's not something I would LP. It's just something that you're supposed to play. Like, I wouldn't watch an LP of it. I mean, I did watch an LP of it because a guy showed a bunch of the different endings, and he kind of, like, made fun of the game the entire time. And his mocking it relentlessly actually made me feel a little bit better. So, that helped a little bit. All right, Elf Boy. Hey, Cross, are there any games that you wish you had done an LP of, or at least done one earlier? Yes, there are 2 major ones. One, Project Zomboid, I didn't do because it glitched. It didn't work properly because it was in alpha. That game got insanely popular. If I had done the alpha, I would have gotten an insane amount of views. But the main one is Plants vs. Zombies 2. Now, obviously, I've been playing that for the better part of a year, and will probably be my only LP that, like 2017 has been the year of Plants vs. Zombies 2. But that game came out in 2013. If I had been able to find out a way to record that game, my entire channel would be different. I know it would have been. I would have had millions more views. I would probably have 1,000 more subscribers at least, and that's conservative. I actually thought, like, should I buy a phone that's capable of recording just for this? Should I spend, like, the $300 to do it? And I couldn't pull the trigger on it. But I'm almost completely sure that I would have made my money back if I had done it. Just based on what happened to Zach something or other and Nintendo Capri Sun. Like, oh, God. It would have been insane. Because there just were not a lot of people that were doing LPs of it because it was so hard to record. And then I finally got my tablet in 2014 and it wasn't capable of recording this. And I found out about emulators, but my computer at the time was not capable of recording it. So it wasn't until 2016 when I got my new computer set up that I realized, then I didn't even realize until a year later, but it was definitely too late by then. Yeah, so that would have been amazing if I had actually been able to record that back in, like, even just 2014. Like, ooh, so good. And plus, it would have been before, like, seed packets. The stages would have been harder. I could have done it as the levels were coming out. Like, would have been great, but was not meant to be. Okay, Mateus Erg. I'm just going to call you Drake. Now that I know your Twitch stream name. Drake asks, hey, Cross, I presume that you haven't watched anime in quite a while, but I'm going to ask, what are some anime you would recommend me to watch? I prefer fantasy. I forget how young you are, Drake, so I don't think I want to recommend the original 80s Berserk. Or was it the 90s? Whatever. Very violent in their sexual content, but I liked Berserk and its fantasy. There's a new Berserk. It's apparently not nearly as good at all, so I wouldn't recommend it. I guess there's a bunch of movies that also kind of compress the story of Berserk. I hear those are pretty good. I only saw the first one. I was kind of sad about all the stuff they left out, but I understand. I do like Berserk, though. I just have to warn you, it is super violent, and it's not for kids. That's all I'm saying. I actually need to stop this video right now to find out the name of this one anime that is a fantasy anime that I absolutely love. I think it's called, like, 12th Kingdom, but let me confirm that. Yes, the 12th Kingdoms. It's a very typical plot at the beginning. Like, this girl gets warped to this magical world, and she finds out she has some destiny. Blah, blah, blah. But it's good. I love it. It's a little bit... There's a lot of, like, vocabulary that you kind of need to learn in it, but I don't know. Nice fleshed out world. I like the characters. I will warn you, though, it just abruptly stops at a certain point because they were waiting for the novels that it was based on to catch up, and then I think the person just didn't write any more novels. So, but even with that, what is there is good, and they wrap up some of the more minor stories. The main overall arcing story just isn't going to be finished, but it ends at a good point, even though it stops horribly. Also, if you're still okay with violence, and I'm sticking to fantasy here, I'm just going to stick to all the fantasy animes that I really like. Claymore. Claymore is a story about a bunch of half-demon women fighting demons, I guess, would be the best way to say that. Death Note, you've probably seen Death Note. one of my favorite. The Netflix movie was quite disappointing, but I expected it to be. But yeah, the Death Note anime is probably one of my favorite animes of all time. Not really fantasy, but you know. Cowboy Bebop, solid. Also not fantasy, but I have an anime list of all the animes that I ever watched. I don't think I've added to it in a very long time, but I'm just looking down the list right now. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop is old enough that I know a lot of people actually haven't watched it, even though like people of like my age, like everyone saw, like even people that didn't watch anime saw Cowboy Bebop because it was on Cartoon Network. So I definitely recommend that. It's just a nice solid 26 episode series that like gets in, it's awesome, and then ends. It's kind of about these mercenaries. Yeah, it's great. Scrapped Princess. That's another one. That's another fantasy show. It's about this princess that there is a prophecy where it said that if she wasn't killed, the world would end. So, but I think someone saved her as a baby, and it's her quest to just stay alive while the world wants her dead. But she has a lot of protectors, so that's a good fantasy one. If you want something really weird, and I'm out of fantasy now, I think, I really liked Paranoia Agent. I can't even tell you what it's about. Just watch the first episode, see if you like it. There are some crazy things that one's adult in a way that's like not just because of the themes. Like I feel like it was just made that like it's a doozy, but I like it. I don't even know what I can say about it though without like It's good. I like it, but I totally understand if other people do not like it and don't get drawn into to Paranoia Agent. And if you like just like a shonen fighting anime that's just like it's kind of like just a bunch of people fighting in really cool fights, but it's also kind of a parody. Airmaster. Airmaster is wonderful. It also stops abruptly, but the story doesn't even matter in that. It's all about the fights. The fights are really good. It's a parody of like there's like a big strong warrior that's just like better and like they just really want to like fight and like be stronger, and there's this gigantic street fight tournament where everyone just like a bunch of fighters in the cities fight and they're ranked based on who they beat. Except this gigantic shonen action hero happens to be a gigantic former gymnast, and she's called the Airmaster because she's so good at gymnastics that she can change direction in midair. It's great. Some of the side characters are amazingly annoying, but I loved it. I actually kind of want to watch Airmaster again. I watched the whole thing, but the fights are just so good. I like to try to go back to it every once in a while. But yeah, there's so many, but I don't want to like clutter your mind with a bunch of with a bajillion different shows. Those are, yeah. I think I covered a pretty good swath about like what I've liked, what I've picked through in the years. So all right, Xenomorphs are awesome. Have you actually met any of the Drive Not Found guys other than Buttkiss and Cube? I have not. Those are the two that I have met. I have not met Relic or Buttkiss. Wait, I did meet Big. I have not met Relic or Daglas or Yoshi. Daglas actually lives relatively close to me, but I don't think I'm just going to like go to Canada anytime randomly. And Relic is also pretty close to me. But yeah, I don't know. The circumstances just allowed. Buckus kind of just showed up, but like with Cube, we were gonna like be like really close to him anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Game and Lover, can we send you fan mail / gifts to you? Oh, where can we send? I honestly don't know if that's possible. I think I would have to give my address, and I'm not really comfortable with putting that out there. And I don't have like a P.O. box, or I don't know any solution to that. So while I appreciate the sentiment quite a bit, I can't think of anything that I could do. The best way to send me things, I guess, is just if you join my Patreon, that would be appreciated. But I know that's not like a personal, like doesn't feel personal. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. If I ever got like huge, I would consider setting up something like that, but I can't imagine doing something like that at my level. All right, Eric Tayu. Hey, Cross. Yes, I'm still alive. Will you improve your setup in the next couple of months? No real plan to, unless... Although I just got, Someone just like donated to my Patreon a decent amount, and I think they're only going to do it for 1 month, but that does actually alleviate something. I mean, I could try to buy a power supply with that money, but that still wouldn't really cover it. Especially with my job feeling a little bit insecure right now, I can't really think about making any real purchases to improve my stuff right now. So, yeah, not really, unless I can just make that leap and get that better power supply. So it's going to be this rickety old operation for a bit longer. That being said, just think back to even like 2 years ago. I'm doing way better than before. So I'm not, except for like the random slowdowns in my videos, I'm really not too upset about my current power right now as far as being able to make things. All right, Chase Hare. What made you make your name CrossKnights? So there's 2 parts to my name. One is Cross. Ever since I was a little kid, I mean, that's a lie, because I stopped doing that once I was no longer a little kid. But I used to sign my artwork with a little symbol that was 2 lightning bolts in an X shape, and I called it a cross. So when I first started using the internet, I believe my name was like Cross 1632 or something, because I was 16 and my lucky number was 32. And eventually that became Cross X because I thought that was cooler, and it was cooler. Numbers are always just, I don't know, they take away from your name, you know? It makes it seem like you're just one of many, whatever your name is. Eventually, though, I played a game called Saga Frontierer 2. And that game had a family, there was the Knights family. There was Will Knights and Virginia Knights and Richard Knights. And I just liked that last name so much that I combined the 2, CrossKnights. And it fit, too, because the CrossKnights were a thing. So that is where my name come from. And I think it worked out just fine. I mean, if I had made this channel a little bit earlier, I might have been Cross X instead. 1 to Theta. During these 7 years you have been telling about your life, consider what you have told us. My question is, do you experience the best time of your life now? I don't think I do. I think I was like 2014 I was really happy, and actually no, that's not even true though. 2014, some of the most depressing times of my life at the beginning of the year, and some of the best times of my life at the end of the year. So, like, I had basically just been falling into this deep depression that I didn't realize I was falling into around the tail end of 2013. I realized it around the beginning of 2014. Because, like, sometimes, I don't know if you know this, but depression can, like, sneak up on you, and it can be happening to you, and you don't realize it at first, because it can just manifest in, like, other ways, and you just, if you have things to do, you might not even realize, because you're just kind of rolling around, like, you don't realize that your thought patterns have been subverted to, like, this dark side, because it happens so gradually, and you're just weirdly tired and demotivated. But it was mainly because I just looked back at my life, and I realized that I hadn't, like, formed like a really deep connection with someone. I had only been in one romantic relationship, and that was when I was like 17. And this was many, many years had passed before that, and I just got to this point where I was like, I don't even think it's possible for me to have a relationship with anyone. Because I'm just like, I don't understand how people do. How people do is together. So, I mean, once I realized that, I started to try to do things to socialize more. And I just wanted to I wasn't even like trying to get into a relationship. I just wanted to try to make some type of connection with each other. It was just someone, like, or figure out how to do that. And around that time, 203 actually asked me to visit her in Arizona. And I don't know if I normally would have done it if I wasn't in this like state where I was just like, I have to break out of my comfort zone. But I did it. I actually had an okay amount of money during that time because the channel was doing much better. And my job was like offering like bonuses and stuff like that. So I flew out there, and then it was basically she wanted me to visit because she doesn't fly, and she drives across the country. She was going to drive to our hometown, and she wanted someone to drive with. We basically became better friends, like, because of it. And then a bit after that, her relationship with her previous boyfriend fell apart, and we ended up being in a relationship together, and I ended up moving to Arizona with her. And that was great. It was basically everything I wanted. I formed a deep connection with someone. I got out of my hometown, which I had lived in for 30 years, like, just the entire time, feeling like I was trapped there forever. everything came together, and I really liked Arizona. It didn't work out there for her because eventually she realized, like, I hate being here. This isn't where I belong. But just that, like, half year was just really great for me. And I do think it was a little bit better than it is now, just because, my living expenses were lower, so I had more money. The weather was always warm. There was no winter to get in my way. The place that we lived had a pool and a hot tub and a gym, and yet cost less money than the place that we're living in now that has none of that, because there are places in Arizona that are, like, good but really cheap compared to New York. That being said, just compared to the overall arcing of my life, like dealing with intermittent periods of depression, like right now is not bad. But yeah, I think that answers that question. But yeah, glad you're still watching, Theta. I know you're a really old subscriber. And also Dakayu, also a very old subscriber. Under what conditions, be a little vague, would you accept a commission, i.e. the right price, detail of work category? I meant for art, but on a mobile device with limited editing. Okay, so I thought I knew what you meant until you added on a mobile device with limited editing. So I don't entirely know what you mean. I do have a bunch of pictures that I want to draw for as rewards for the live stream. I have to make sure I contact everyone about that. But yeah, if you meant like just pieces of art, I can't even imagine. I actually finished my commissions for last year's live stream right before the live stream, and I'll show those on screen right now. These are pictures that were commissioned for me to draw. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting prospect, but I don't know if I have time, really. Alright, Criminal Kiwi. Congrats on 7 years. If your channel was a person, it would be starting the 1st grade. My question is, for you personally, what makes a good game or bad game to do an LP of? Bad for me is something that very little choice can happen. So this is why I'm never going to do like the Telltale games, where you can make choices, but in general, the game is on like a railroad. Like, it doesn't require gaming skill. Also, something that is insanely cutscene heavy, not the best to do an LP on. So, as much as I love Kingdom Hearts 2, I did not remember there being that many like cutscenes in it. But it can work. A good game, though, I think is something with large amounts of variety, like different ways to play certain things. So, like Deus Ex, I think is an excellent game to LP, just because of the variety of ways you can do things. Just things that like bring out the personality of the person. So, like Evil Genius is a perfect example. Like, not only do you get to choose where to direct people, like how you deal with agents, and just you get to design your own base. Like, so much of your personality can come through in something like that, in those like customizable worlds. And I think that's why probably the like some of the most popular games on my channel, like Ghostmaster and Evil Genius and Rebuild, are all things where you kind of get those decisions like that your management style kind of comes through and your personality can come through. And as far as like making a good LP, like you always want to try to add to the game instead of taking away from it. That's why I'm usually careful about trying not to talk over like cutscenes and stuff like that, so I'm not hurting the story, I guess, is what I'm saying. So hopefully that answered your question. Ooh, my throat is starting to give out. That means we got the energy flowing in my voice is exploding out with shonen power. Zach Spears. I love Patty Cake Warrior The Reckoning. That was the best game. Well, as long as you don't ask me to play it. I appreciate you not requesting me to play it. Also, the question. Why did you start making videos for YouTube, and why do you make them now? I started making them after I saw other LPers doing them, and I was like, I can do this. This looks like fun. Oh my god, I'm dying. Nope, dying. Oh my god, it's just the air in here is like so dry. I can feel it. It's just dry. And actually, there's like snow flurries for the first time this year. Yeah, so... Yeah, I thought it would be fun. I think I've definitely mentioned this before, that I was encouraged to just start recording once I saw a Let's Player named I Like Being Smart. Because before then I was like, I have to be perfect at these games before I play them. And then I was just like, it's kind of better if you're not perfect, isn't it? And I thought it might help me speak, and it did. I'm a much better speaker in real life because I've been making these videos for 7 years. But yeah, it was just fun, especially at the beginning, just knowing that I was sharing certain games with people that I had loved my entire life and that they had never seen and would never have heard of or played. You know, Chrono Trigger, Path of Neo, Super Mario RPG. Like, it's just like everyone needs to see these games. And why do I make them now? It's still fun, is the main reason. But the other reason is just like you guys, like the fact that people actively watch me so much and seem to really enjoy it. If it wasn't for that, I would not still be producing a video every day, or trying to every day. It's not every day anymore, but it's close some months. You know, there's no way I'd be able to justify the time if it wasn't for the fact that I was actually getting active feedback a lot of the time. Rhythmic Chaos. Hi, Cross. First of all, I want to say congratulations on 7 years. Thank you. You've been there for me for almost half of my life, which is pretty incredible if you think about it. I moved to a new town when I was 8, and I didn't know anyone, so you're kind of a pseudo-friend for me. Oh, thanks. I'm glad I could help with that. My question is, will you play Overwatch? Just kidding. In all seriousness, how did you fix your insomnia, or is it still going on? Yeah, no, it's definitely still going on. I actually slept most of last night, but that is the first time that has happened in a very long time. Like, it's daylight right now. There's sun. It's only 2 p.m. It's amazing. But, I mean, like, let's take, like, 3 days ago. I went to sleep at 8 o'clock in the morning and woke up at 3 in the afternoon. So that was less good, especially now that daylight savings has happened and it gets dark at, like, 5. So I only had 2 hours of sunlight, and it was also rainy that day, so I kind of had 0 hours of sunlight. But yeah, I don't have any solutions for anyone for insomnia. I have struggled it for a long time. I used to be on medication for it, but I didn't take it. I don't take it anymore because of health issues. There was also like a few years there where I didn't have health insurance, so I wouldn't have been able to get it anyway. But yeah, Also, if you really want to see me play Overwatch, I have 2 Overwatch videos on my channel. That was during the free weekend before it was released. I do terribly, and Bastion destroyed me and Companion really badly. But they're there. 203, oddly enough, owns Overwatch, and I don't. So if I ever want to play it, I could just pop on her computer. But I haven't felt the urge. Yes, glad you are still watching. Scythe! Do you take on new members on the waiting queue or the Drive Not Found YouTube channel? The short answer is no. Sorry. There's a few times in the past when we've had guests on the waiting queue that like weren't really part of our group, but those days are probably over because we honestly hardly ever do the waiting queue anymore. We did one a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago. When is this going to come out? It's going to come out in like 2 days from when I'm recording it. Yeah, we hardly ever do the Waiting Queue podcast anymore because Companion has a job now, and it's just hard to find time. It's just dangerous anytime you add new people to a group, really. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna be adding anyone really to Drive Not Found, and you know, definitely not to the Waiting Queue if that's even a thing anymore. Unkempt Cube asks, are tarps gray? A lot of the good tarps are actually like really shiny on one side, and that's so that they can use retro-reflective technology to reflect some of the rays of the sun back at the sun, and then whatever is under the tarp is less like hot, like it doesn't heat up if you have some equipment under there. And I suppose, I mean, the reflective material could be, it's more of a silver than a gray, but some tarps are gray, yeah. Just so you know, though, the real intention of this question is to see if they could slip up my dyslexia and have me say something that was not actually said. But they messed it up by telling me that in a call, so now I've said it correctly. So suck it. Because I definitely messed up on the first word when I said it in the call, so it would have been great. But you've been robbed of your prize, knaves. And the last question, unless again someone puts one in 24 hours, are we human or are we dancers? By Douglas. I don't understand this question, Douglas. We are human, and we can be dancers. We can dance if we want to. We can leave our friends behind. Because if our friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, they're still human. But they're not dancers. And that, my friends, is the end of my question and answer videos. If you like this and you want more of it, you can see, you know, past Young Buck CrossKnights in the playlist of all the FAQs that span back all the way to either 2010 or 2011. I don't know if I did. I doubt I did one in 2010 because you know, November is the anniversary of my channel. I doubt I did an FAQ in the first 2 months, but spans all the way back to 2011. And hopefully the annotations work in that first question and answer video, because I put a lot of work into putting in annotations, but I feel like YouTube's like phasing them out and glitching them out and stuff. On the screen, scrolling by, are all of my Patreon end screens for the entire year, starting in March. I think they've gotten significantly better. I think each one has actually gotten a little bit better. Maybe not each one, but in general, they just get better and better. So I'm glad. I guess my my art is flowing into me a little bit more. The art shall course through my veins and give me power. And in that vein, I would like to give thanks to Elfboy, Belazarna, Sigfault, Atazer, Van Helsen, Lockling Henderson, James Hedda, Terror Owns, Mr. Dog's Rule, Liam, Q-Birdie, I don't know how to say your name, sorry, Companion, Buckus, Douglas, Alan, Jesse, and Degrazi. These are the people that just helped me keep on going back when I started, you know, when my finances started to dip a little bit. But the starting the Patreon has given me some peace of mind. It has helped me be a little bit stable. Without it, I would be in a lot worse shape this year, like when I do the math. If it wasn't for that and the fact that I did this job, like digging a ditch in a friend's basement, that gave me like a bunch of extra money too. Yeah, this wouldn't have been the best year as far as keeping me afloat, but that's not what happened. I am kept afloat. I'm floating right now. I'm on a nice little raft, and we're paddling along the river of life together. Here's to another year. Hopefully I can find... I have so many games I want to play for you guys. You know that? And I just don't have... I think I kind of put myself in a corner by playing all these long games, like Plants vs. Zombies and Stardew and Hollow Knight. God, I didn't expect that to be this long. But boy, is that a long game if you try to get everything. I have it in my head. A lot of people have been asking about Medieval, by the way. I am going to LP that, damn it. It's not going to be like Undertale where I say I'm going to LP it. Now I have no intention of ever LPing it. Sorry for mentioning that again. I do really want to LP that. I just haven't gotten around to beating it. Also, As Your Dreams. I don't know if you've heard of it. I can't get that game out of my head. I want to LP it. I think I have to LP it. I feel like it's one of the few games from my childhood that I haven't brought to people yet. I just thought it was just weird because of the weird, like dating aspect of it, but it's not going to be any more weird than any of the games that I played with Relic, so... Well, somehow playing it with a Relic, like, legitimizes it. Thank you for listening. I got all my social media links in the bottom. By the way, I actually use Twitter now, guys. I have, like, 1 tweet a week, at least. Sometimes 2. I post, like, you know, just my random thoughts, and sometimes videos on YouTube that I really like. And I always put my new, like, Patreon picture on there, so if you want to see that, like, not in a weird video context, it's all right there. Facebook I hardly ever use in contrast, but I try, anytime I start a new series, I try to post that, and sometimes it's like a day or 2 early. And then, of course, there's Drive Not Found. I have been streaming more frequently. If you go to the Drive Not Found YouTube page, you can see some of the streams that I've done. So yeah, all of that is at your fingertips if you desire more me. Thank you very much to everyone who asked questions. It is appreciated. These question and answer videos obviously could not exist without you. And, assuming nothing horrible happens, I will see you all in next year's question and answer videos, and in whatever LP I do next. Later.